Hello class, today we're going to start chapter 5, which is looking at linear inequalities. The first section of this chapter is solving inequalities with addition and subtraction. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to solve and graph addition and subtraction inequalities. When we're looking at inequalities, this is a math sentence that compares two quantities that aren't equal. Up until now, we've been talking about equations, and that has an equal sign in the middle because the left and the right side of the equation are equal to each other. There are four symbols for inequality: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. And in this chart, you can see some other terms that would stand for those particular symbols. I would like to point out under the less than or equal to and the greater than or equal to, these bottom four might not be as intuitive as you would think. They're a little bit opposite, but less than or equal to is the same thing as no more than, because we want it to be smaller, or at most, because again, we want it to be smaller. Likewise, greater than or equal to is no less than, because we want it to be bigger than that number, or at least. So when we are looking at addition or subtraction inequalities, we're still going to solve them using SAD-MEP. So in order to get rid of that minus 16, we are going to add 16 to both sides, giving us an answer of 38 is greater than m. When we come down here in terms of graphing, we are looking at a number line. The middle is marked for us with that 0, but we're going to have to put in numbers so that 38 is going to fit on the graph. I'm going to go ahead and go by 5s. Couple other things to note when you're graphing. If we come back to this chart, when you are putting this on the graph, if you are putting on a number for less than or greater than, it's going to be an open circle. If you are putting in for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that circle is going to be filled in. What that means is the number where you are putting your dot on is either not included if it's open or included if it is closed. So if I come back and look, 38 is greater than, so I'm just going to mark that with an open circle, roughly at 38. And then I'm going to go ahead and now I need to determine which direction I want to graph in. The easiest way to do this is to plug in 0 in the place of the variable. So if I plug in 0, I have 38 is greater than 0. Since this is a true statement, that means 0 is going to be part of my answer. So I'm going to draw in an arrow going to the left. What this means is that every number covered by that blue line is a possible solution to this problem. So if I picked out another one, let's say 10, I'd say 38 is greater than 10. Again, that's a true statement. 0 is the easiest number to plug in. It's not the only number that you can plug in. Go ahead and try this one on your own, solving for p and then making a graph. You should have gotten an answer of p is greater than or equal to 8. Since 0 is not greater than or equal to 8, the arrow is moving to the right. Notice it is a filled in circle because it is a greater than or equal to. Likewise, we can solve if we have two variables. We're just going to have to add or subtract to move those variables around. The goal is to always keep the variables positive. So we're going to get rid of these 4 h's on the right side by subtracting them, which gives, if I have 5 and I take away 4, I have 1 h, or just h is greater than or equal to 12. Again, that's not going to fit on my number line, so I'm going to go up by 2's this time. Looking at my inequality symbol, it's a greater than or equal to, so I'm going to put a closed dot at 12 because we want that equal to part in there. Then I'm going to plug in 0 and say 0 is greater than or equal to 12, which is a false statement, so I don't want to include 0, and I am drawing my graph to the right. Go ahead and try this one on your own. After solving, you get an answer of -1 is less than n. Putting that open dot at -1, plugging in 0 for n, -1 is less than 0, so that arrow is going to the right to include 0. Looking at word problems, that's when that list that we had at the front with those key phrases are going to help you out. Kelsey has $65 to spend at the mall. She bought a t-shirt for $18 and a belt for $14. If Kelsey wants to buy a pair of jeans, how much can she spend on them? So, things that we know. She has $65. She bought a t-shirt for $18 and a belt for $14. She is trying to buy a pair of jeans. So in total, she spent $18 plus $14, and she is going to have to buy a pair of jeans. So I'm going to call that J. And we know that her total amount that she has is $65. Now I'm trying to look at which symbol I want to put in the middle. We know that she can't spend any more than $65. So if you look back at that table, no more than is less than or equal to. She could spend $65 or she could spend less than that. We're going to simplify this a little by doing 18 plus 14, which gives me 32 plus J is less than or equal to 65. To finish solving my problem, I'm going to subtract 32, and I get an answer of J is less than or equal to $33. So that means that she can spend $33 or less on her pair of jeans. Go ahead and write out this inequality and then solve it on your own. So we have the number decreased by 8, that subtraction is less than 21. Writing out that purple inequality, adding 8 to both sides, you get n is less than 29. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please let me know when you get to class.